Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today we're looking at the DeWalt cordless 20-volt heat gun. So this is very handy if you don't want to lug a cord around with you. This comes with a 5 amp hour battery and a charger. So this one is not just the tool only. Please refer to the owner's manual. I'll put a link in the description where you can find it. I might miss a few steps, so make sure you read through it before using this tool. Also, please make sure you're wearing safety gloves, something that you're not going to get burned with when you're using this tool. In this video, I'll be working with the tool cold, showing you how some of the attachments work, so I might not have the gloves on the entire time. But when you are using it, please wear gloves. It's so easy to burn yourself and just forget and touch things where you shouldn't. And so anyway, just be safe as you're working with this. So this one does come with the slightly bigger charger, the DCE530, because it does have an XR battery, so that's nice to have. The battery, again, is 5 amp hour XR for extended runtime, and it has the fuel gauge on the back. After using this tool for a few minutes, it took off one of the three, so it lasts pretty well. So having the XR battery is a nice touch. It comes with some heat deflectors for melting heat shrink tube or helping spread out the heat if you're drying things. So this is what the tool looks like here. It has the air vent in the back. And so it has the little trigger here with a safety on the front. So basically you have to push up and then you can pull the trigger. It then has a lock button that you can push that will hold that trigger in place. And so I found that very useful. Just remember it's running on its own after that. So nice little toggle switch here. Takes a little getting used to push it up, then pull the trigger on it. But it works pretty well. So turning the tool around towards the back is the air inlet where it will bring the air in. So make sure that's not covered. You don't want sawdust or anything getting in there or moisture. This says it has a heat range of 550 degrees Fahrenheit up to 990 degrees Fahrenheit. So it can get really hot. Of course, read through all of the warnings and everything with it before handling it. And, you know, it takes a lot of self-control. Remember that it's hot. It's hard not to touch it, but just make sure that you're handling it with extreme care. So we're going to go ahead and put the battery pack on. It goes on just like any of the other DeWalt tools. You can push that release button down a little bit to help get it on, and it has a high and a low setting. So L would be for the low, H is the high, and you definitely can hear the difference in basically the sound of it on high and low. And so this is what it sounds like on high. So it's not too noisy, but you can already see it going to work there, glowing red. So I actually had a Weber grill thermometer here, so I decided I was going to heat this up and just kind of get a range and see if it heats this up for the temperature scale. And within no time, it was starting to climb. Of course, be very careful if you're doing this. You don't want to get burned, and you might want to have it on a stand. But anyway, this is just for demonstration purpose. So anyway, you can see the heat climbing up pretty quickly with this one. This is on the high setting, and so I got it up to the 550 and said, okay, that's good enough. So be careful where you set it down now. It's hot, so remember that when you're dealing with a heat gun. Another nice feature that they added was a light down here. So when you pull the trigger, a little light comes on in case you're in low light area, so that's nice. And so we're going to go ahead and use these attachments. Remember to not handle these when it's hot. So this attachment is known as the fishtail, and it's used for drying, removing paint, removing vinyl or linoleum, thawing or spreading the heat out over an area. And the other nozzle is known as a reflector nozzle or hook nozzle for heat shrink wrapping, reflecting heat around an item, avoiding excess heat burning or hurting the surface behind an item so you can kind of heat something up next to it. So this deflector is very helpful for heat shrink tube. So what I did is just put a little piece of heat shrink tube over the wire, and as you can see, it did a pretty good job heating that up evenly. And so again, letting it cool down, make sure it's cool. We went ahead and switched over to our next one. So this one slides right on, and this one will do more of a wider distribution of heating. And so as an example for this one, I went ahead and used it to pull some vinyl that I had on the back window here of the Mach 1, and it did a really good job. So as you're using it, just remember, as you set the tool down, make sure you don't set it against your seats or anywhere, because it will be, as you saw, upwards of 500 up to 900 degrees. So you want to be very careful with it, but this did a really good job. And so remember, as you're pulling whatever you're heating up off, it will be hot too. So be very careful with that. Now for cooling it down, they recommend to run it on the low setting for a minute, and then remove the battery so that it definitely doesn't turn itself back on. And the manual shows setting it down on a table like so. So just be very careful. It wants you to wait 30 minutes before putting it away in a cabinet. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please check the video description where I have more videos that are like this with other tool reviews, battery charge comparisons with the fast charger versus the other chargers, all kinds of stuff. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.